Let's see if it works. Check it on your side too, because I don't
Yeah, I
know.
am.
Um, the YouTube studio part doesn't refresh. So it says that we're live right now, but it's
We're
not.
live, baby.
Yeah, you see us?
I see us, dude.
All right, cool. Yeah, I have 2 test videos on there that we're going to have to get rid of.
We're live.
All
We're live
right.
and in
What's up,
charge.
dude?
What's up, man? Nothing much.
Have
How are
we
you? Are you Alpin, dude?
I'm Alpin. I'm RFK. I can't do the RFK
Are
impersonation.
you Alpin? I'm trying to live from my confirmation
It's pretty
hearing.
good. Did you see the
It's
girl
jacked up,
online
though.
that her impersonation? Oh yeah, you saw it because we talked about it. But her impersonation is just her shaking. She's like,
Yeah, dude. There's so many people that are dunking on that guy, and I don't get it. I don't understand
including
it.
his own family, dude, which is wild.
Yeah, I mean, criminals are gonna criminal. You know what I mean? Criminals are gonna
Yeah, that's what my dad always said.
criminal elites, dude. Criminal elites.
I talked to my dad today about RFK and all that stuff. He's all, he's
Yeah.
a piece of shit. And even his family goes after him. I was like, all right, well, think about it this way. Like, his family is putting all of their family drama on blast. So who's the bad one? He's like, oh, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. And I was like, yeah, plus his, like, nephew is making fun of his own voice. Like, his voice is fucked up because of a medical issue. Like, that's fucked up, dude.
It's just like, dude, if you like, I understand people have problems in their family and people don't like members of their family or they harbor resentments against their members of their family.
Yeah, I'm one of
Shut
them.
up, dude. Just shut up and don't bring that stuff. Don't bring your baggage to the internet and try to dunk on somebody. It's not cool, man. Just
Yeah, it's
let it
pretty
go,
shitty, dude.
Let it go. So what's new with you, dude? What are you doing? How's the brewery going? Vincent owns a brewery.
I own a
He's
brewery. I'm
part owner of a brewery.
Thank you. Yeah, I have 20% of a brewery. It's doing good, man. It's just
A lot of work.
it's a lot of work, and I'm in a different state, so
Yeah.
I don't have to go there every day. But it would almost be better if I was there every day, dude. Just because it's kind of hard being here and like seeing what's happening, and being like, oh yeah, that sounds rough, and then not being able to go and help. But yeah, I do a lot of the social media stuff, and then like the beer label, like all the design stuff for the brewery, and it's a lot of fun. I've got to make some really cool labels, which I actually enjoy the most. But yeah,
What would you
it's
say?
going good.
What would you say is the biggest challenge from a small business perspective? And I know like you're not really running the day to day because you're in a different state. But what just from like conversations that you have with everybody running there, what would you say is the biggest kind of hurdle?
The biggest hurdle is just the fact that it's a new business, and we don't like we're making enough to survive, but we're not making enough to thrive.
Right.
So it's like a few months ago we had a break-in where a guy broke in the door and he was trying to steal stuff, and all we had was a shitty iPad, and he took that. But like he took an iPad that was probably worth $80, but the door that he broke was 2,000, and that was $2,000 we didn't really have in the bank to begin with, so we had to figure stuff out. Yeah, it's rough, dude. We're in California, so all of the expenses for that, the insurance companies pretty much dropped all breweries, so there's like one insurance company left, and because of that they can charge whatever they want. So they charged us 3 times what we're paying per month.
Unreal.
Our lease like doubled after we got it, and it's a small space, and it's just, yeah, it's hard, man.
They need to. You're the other people. First of all, shout it out. What's the name of your brewery,
Yeah,
dude? And where's it at?
Common Corners in Walnut, California. We make fantastic beer.
It is good.
It's really good. My brother-in-law is the lead brewer, and he worked at a few breweries in Orange County. And then we were lucky enough to start this, and he took all of his knowledge and pretty much makes whatever he wants. It's great, dude. I really enjoy it. I wish it was closer. It's
And
my only thing.
let me tell you something. It is good beer. I'm not a beer person. Like
Thanks,
I'm
dude.
not like my wife. It's funny because
My
my wife
wife.
and Vince bond over beer in a way that I just am left out of the conversation because I'm like I don't. It just all tastes the same to me. I mean, relatively. There's stuff that definitely stands out, but it is, man. It's good times, good vibes, good people that work there. A lot of Trump supporters, but
The
just kidding.
complete opposite, dude.
It's the complete opposite.
Oh,
Other than
man.
that, no, it is a good time, and I'm rooting for you guys, man. I
Thanks,
think
man.
it's cool. I think it's cool, and anytime the older I get, the more respect I have for people in business, because you start to understand that like the real risk takers in the world are the people that start businesses, because especially in California, I don't like, I saw the writing on the wall in that place. And once, our home insurance got canceled and property tax like got ridiculous and everything else like that, it's, my heart goes out to California with everything that they got going on with the fires and everything. Cause unfortunately, man, I just think that stuff's going to get worse until you get some of these career politicians out. It's going to be a good time, but let's not get political.
We're not getting political.
We're not getting political.
Your beliefs are your own, dude.
We're not getting
but I will pocket an Alp whenever I'm.
Oh, dude, that's not political. That's freedom, my man.
Was a Senate hearing or a congressional hearing?
His was a Senate hearing.
Okay.
It was a confirmation hearing to be the HHS director or secretary, whatever the term is.
Yeah.
But man, it's been a fiery few days with all the people that are trying to get confirmed for new roles in the government, man. Those Democrats, they don't want to let these guys in, dude. And it's weird because it's like the questions that are being asked don't pertain to really the relevance of the position. It's more about like, we're going to just take this day to completely like run your character
through the ringer,
in the shit, in the dirt,
It's personal attacks, and then it's also like, are you going to go after all of us that have been breaking the law? Because that's not fair. It's like, well, I mean,
yeah,
they're going to do their job and they're going to withhold the Constitution. And especially for the Kash Patel guy, like all the questions are like, are you going to go after this guy? And he's like, well, I'm going to go after people that broke the law. So if he didn't break the law, then we're going to be fine. And they're like, oh, he's going to go after that guy. It's like, oh, well, just be a good person and you're fine, dude.
Well, unfortunately, the last administration, the FBI was run, politically, and it was run against the political rivals, and they're very worried that that's going to swing back on them. And, it's understandable. That's why you shouldn't open that can of worms. That's why all of the government agencies should be run politically neutral. Now, can you really do that? I don't know, but you should at least, at least present that. So it's theater, man. It's all theater. And I got to admit, it's fun to watch. And some of the clips that come out of these hearings are hilariously funny. Some of the questions, and then I'll leave it at this, but some of the questions are they reveal more about the person asking the question, dude. I think a lot of times than they do the person, the questionee.
100%, dude. And a lot of the questions, like we were laughing about today, like they state a question that is clearly not a yes or no, but they front load it saying it's going to be a yes or no. And then when the person tries to explain that, like, explain their answer, they just start screaming and saying it's a yes or no. And it's like, well, the parameter for this is massive, and you're
you got to a lot of questions are like, you have to contextualize an answer because they're complex. They're not, you're dealing with things like, Homeland Security and, how in RFK's in his, what he's doing is like the health of the country. And it's so fascinating to see how many politicians are like, well, the science is settled. It's like, dude, can you imagine if like that was the take of the government 100 years ago or 200 years ago? And, we would have never gotten out of the Industrial Revolution or the Enlightenment period, because it's like, it's settled. Let's just,
we're done. We're fine. I just started that Eric Larson book that's about the Civil War. Dude, I'm only like 17% in, but I love the in-depth like nature of it and how he goes through each person. So right now he's going through like where Honest Abe was when he was becoming the nominee for the Republicans. Right. And then and then like the Democratic side, and nothing's happened yet, but just like the way that he writes is incredible. And then I'm listening to the audiobook, and I can't remember, is it Will Patton? Is that an actor?
Yeah.
Will Patton narrates it, and he's so good. And
there's a book that I read that Will Patton's the narrator on. It might be what's the book about H.H. Holmes? What's that? Devil in the White City?
Devil in the White City. Does he do it?
I don't think he does it, but he does another book that I've read where and maybe it's the Bob Dylan book.
Oh, okay.
One of them. Anyway, he's a great narrator. He's from like
So good, dude. And I
he's
heard his voice, and I was like, I know who this is. Who is
yeah.
this? Who is this?
He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
He always, whenever I hear Will Patton or I hear his voice, I always think of Remember the Titans.
Oh,
He plays the coach in Remember the Titans, or one of the coaches
Yeah.
that's kind of the adversary at the beginning to Denzel Washington. But yeah, dude, Devil in the White City is a great book. I'm reading 1776 right now,
Okay.
and
Nice.
it's the way it's written is so good because like, and I haven't gotten very far. I'm in the first few chapters, but you know, certain authors can really, really, really pull you in. Eric Larson is definitely one of those. The thing that I love about Devil in the White City, one, they just announced that that movie's been revived with Leonardo DiCaprio, which is the perfect casting for H.H. Holmes.
Yeah.
If you look at a picture of H.H. Holmes, it looks like Leonardo DiCaprio with a handlebar mustache.
Dude.
But that's going to be great. And if Martin Scorsese directs it, woo,
Yeah,
look out,
man.
dude. Look the hell out.
It's definitely like the setup for all of it. Sorry, I'm looking to see. I closed our chat box on accident, and I just want to make sure that I have something just in case someone says something.
Sure. I'm watching too.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
but dude, what I was gonna say is the thing I love about Devil in the White City is the city of Chicago and what's going on with the Chicago World's Fair is as much a character as anything else in that book.
Dude.
And it's so cool the way that like the politics surrounding that, how it was kind of in the shadow of the World's Fair Paris where the Eiffel Tower was built, and how like everything is kind of reactionary to that World's Fair, and these American industrialists are like, we got to be better than the French.
Yeah, dude. It's
which a lot of things are created because people are trying to be better than the French. Let's face it. I mean, this country exists probably in a lot of ways because of that.
The Devil in the White City, I think my favorite part of the book, like of course the story and H.H. Holmes and all that, but the what is it called at the end of the book? Not the forward, but the
prologue,
the prologue,
or epilogue,
where he's kind of breaking down epilogue. Where he's kind of breaking down the World's Fair and what happened whenever it was gone, and like the lawsuits between the carpenters that made it and the people that funded it, and how at some point they just stopped paying them. So the carpenters and the people that built it just said, fuck you, and just burnt it down. And that's why we really don't have anything left from it. It's so crazy, dude.
Well, that's like, you know, that's why labor unions should exist, because it's like these people that are the backers with all the money, they will try to take advantage of the situation, and you see it all the time, even today, you know. Mr. Trump,
dude.
President Trump has screwed over a lot of people. But anyway, so that book is great. I can't wait to see it. But so far the new book you're reading is pretty dope though.
So far it's so good. Last year I didn't go too heavy into audiobooks, but the year before, I think I finished like 37 books.
You have, dude. You have.
I was going for it.
2025, I have made it a mission because I collect audiobooks like a pack rat, and I
do you use Audible?
I do. I have Audible, and then Apple Books will put shit on sale for like pennies on the dollar.
Nice.
Like I've gotten so many books that way. But I found that audiobooks, I zone out too much, and I'm the kind of person that if I lose context, I will have to go back and re-listen to everything.
Yeah.
So I've been with the case of 1776, I've been trying to read, like I read comic books before I go to bed, and I love it. But I'm also like, well, why don't I mix in like an actual book and read more? And I'm trying to make myself smarter the older I get. I don't know that it's going to work, but yeah, it's fun, dude. Trying to mix it up. Been doing some stand up.
Yeah, dude, how's that going? You went tonight.
It's good, dude. It's fun, man. It's scary.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's an interesting prospect, dude. And it really the day of. This is my second time doing it out here in Idaho, and it's cool. It's got a cool little scene. It's in a brewery, but it's actually like an actual, like the back of the brewery is kind of set up like a makeshift comedy club, and it's kind of dope. It's my first experience. I did comedy out in California, but my background is mostly sketch and improv. So doing stand-up is flexing a different comedy muscle that I'm not used to yet, you know, but I'm realizing now where they kind of overlap in certain ways in terms of setup, punchline, that kind of thing. So it's fun, man. It's fun. I have to tell myself that, like, because I'm really hard on myself. So I have to tell myself that it's like, it's all an experiment, man. You don't know. Yeah. Like, you can think something's hilarious in your room, or there's a great, like, you'll come up with a great concept. You'll sit down to write it out, and you're like, well, there's nothing really here. It's just kind of the bones of it are funny. And then So tonight, the first time I went up, I got a pretty good reaction. I had people come up to me after and told me that it was a really good set. And,
Nice.
I didn't blow the roof off. I wasn't, Richard Pryor out there, but, it was a good building block. Tonight was a little bit different. I tried something. I had a joke that I basically, so they're 3-minute sets, nothing
Okay.
crazy. It's not a long time. So I basically came in. I actually went over my time. I didn't realize till I went back. I recorded this one and I went back and listened to it. And I went like 5 minutes. So that's a no-no. But I
You gotta
basically
play the
came in.
recording some night, dude. I want to hear it.
Oh no, I'm not doing that, dude.
I wanna
I'll
hear
do it.
it.
I'll do it when I'm a little bit better. I'll send it to you if you want to hear it. But
Yeah, please.
yeah, it's fun, dude. It's definitely a challenge, and it's a challenge between the ears for sure. Because it's, as Steve Martin says, the ego's last stand. And I'm used to an ensemble form of comedy where you don't shoulder the burden if you're if you die, so to speak. But luckily I haven't, I've not been the worst one in the room so far, so that's cool. I'm gonna keep going at
there's
it.
going to be a night that you are, and if
Yeah,
anything, you just take away from what other people are doing and what makes
yeah.
them laugh.
And
Yeah,
it's stripes, dude. It's like you gotta earn your stripes, and part of that is by going, being in the trenches and failing. And I'm, in so much of my life, we're about to get deep now, but in so much of my life I've avoided that. And I'm just like come to the conclusion, like, I'm not going to avoid that anymore. I'm just going to go for it and see, if nothing else, it's just a fun hobby and something where a skill that I can hone. And then,
yeah,
it informs other things. It informs just using my brain. I'm really, like, in this part of my life, interested in, I spent a long period of time, putting my brain in a box and turning off the lights.
yeah,
And so now I'm not doing that, and I'm really trying to, like, kind of apply myself to a lot of things. So it's cool. It's got its own rewards, and there's a spiritual aspect to it that I'm enjoying. And yeah, man, makes me more present, makes me more, little fear is a good thing, dude.
yeah. Fear is a good thing, and it's fear, so it's scary. I was going to
For
ask
sure.
you, is it like, do you feel weird doing it, being a California native that's new to the place? Or do you feel like a lot of the people there are also from California? So
You know
it's
what? There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of people in Boise alone that are from California. I
okay.
did California jokes last week because a lot of, like, my starting point is kind of like, you kind of write towards what's going on in your life in certain aspects. And so what's going on in my life is I'm a transplant from California. There's a lot of politics out here that have to do with, people that have been in Idaho or Boise for a long time, and they're dealing with all these influx of Californians. So another guy there tonight was from California. He's from Fresno, actually,
Oh wow.
and he was telling jokes and stuff. So some of that you just kind of, you pay attention to. It kind of gives you an in. But a lot of these guys, are established comedians in the area, and they've been doing it 6, 7, 8, 10 years.
Okay.
So that's a different animal. I'm hearing, I don't know if it's from your headphones, but I am hearing
Yourself?
some. Yeah, I'm hearing
Let me
myself a little bit.
turn my headphones down a little bit. Is that better?
So I still hear myself. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's better. Um, I still hear myself.
Do you have YouTube sound on?
Do I have YouTube sound on? No, because it's not. No,
Because my
it's not.
headphones are super low right now.
Okay.
I can barely hear you. I can step away a little bit.
Maybe. How are my levels? I didn't even check my levels.
I've been staring at your levels, and they're pretty
Ooh,
good, dude. You got
cool.
some pretty good levels.
Cool. Yeah. So to put a bow on that, it's fun. Enjoying it. It's different. It's a new kind of a thing to learn, but I'm enjoying it, and yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep forcing myself to be vulnerable, and you know, yeah, it's fun, dude. But
What was your best joke of the night, you feel?
well, I did 3 jokes. The one bulk joke that I did, I watched. I back in California before I moved here. I sat down and I watched a 90-minute documentary on Daniel Boone, and I learned so much about Daniel Boone. And Daniel Boone was he was a fur trapper and a hunter and a settler, and he went and trapped in the kind of like what is Kentucky now. So back then, King George III wouldn't let the colonies expand west of the Appalachian Mountains because they didn't want to piss off the Indian tribes, and also because they kind of sensed that there was going to be a rebellion from the American colonies. So they then flipped it and tried to use the Indians as kind of allies to go after, and that's exactly what happened with Daniel Boone. So anyway, Daniel Boone goes to Kentucky territory, traps all these furs, comes back. The guy that he gave him the money to do the expedition, I'm sorry, he traps all these furs. The area he was in was Shawnee tribal lands, and the Shawnee, he was like a tracker, like he was a dude was like a G, Daniel Boone. But the Shawnee caught up with him and basically tried to kill him, and so he had to escape, and he left all of his furs. So he went back to North Carolina, didn't have the furs that he was expecting to have, so he owed this guy a bunch of money. The guy took him to court, and then after he lost the lawsuit, and the judge at the time pulled Daniel Boone. Yeah, he lost to the guy that he owed all this money that he was in debt to. So the judge of the case pulled him aside and said, "Hey, I just bought a bunch of land in that area in the Kentucky. Basically, it was the state of Kentucky. I bought all that land, and it was during the time of the American Revolution. So a lot of these people were like, "F it, we're gonna buy land west of the Appalachian because like the crown's already pissed off at us and we're fighting them. So F them."
Yeah.
And so he hired Daniel Boone to go and establish and settle a fort called Boonesboro in Kentucky. Well, while they were there, there was the leader of the Shawnee, his name was Blackfish, and it was basically like, what the F, you're on our land. And so the British, because this is the height of the Civil War, is like 1778, and the British went to Blackfish and said, "Hey, we'll make you a deal. You capture Daniel Boone and the settlers, you bring him up to Fort Detroit, we'll give you your land back, and we'll have taken out this, you can burn down the fort, and we'll have taken out this prominent American fort," all in the scheme of like trying to fight the American Revolution. And so the Shawnee captured Daniel Boone, took him 100 miles to Fort Michigan. Daniel Boone gets there. The British tell Daniel Boone, "Yeah, we're gonna have the Shawnee go back and burn all your stuff down." Well, Daniel Boone's daughter was back at the fort, so he escaped his captivity and ran back 100 miles over the course of 4 days. Didn't have shoes, like fashioned shoes out of tree bark and leather. Didn't have food, didn't sleep, didn't have water. Well, I mean, he had water from like the streams, but ran back over the course of 4 days 100 miles and ran over rocks so he wasn't being tracked, all this crazy stuff. So that's the premise of the joke. It's like a long-winded setup, and then I go into like kind of the highlights of that story. And then, and this is a true story, I realized after watching this crazy story, he gets back to Boonesboro, warns everybody there, they fortify the fort, fight back to Shawnee, and then end up killing Blackfish and like overcoming. And I realized at the end of the documentary, it was a 90-minute documentary, and I had watched it solely because I didn't want to get up and go get the remote that was on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
So that's what the joke is. It's like a very long-winded. The bulk of it is the setup, the actual story, very dry, and then that's the end of it. And the kind of, and I kind of screwed the joke up because it's a really interesting kind of thing when you're up there. It's like your brain's in the present, your mouth's in the future. You're trying to be captivating. You're trying to hit the timing, because so much of that is timing, right? Comedy is like the words you pick, the specific words you pick, and the timing of the story you tell or the joke that you're telling. And so one of the end joke, kind of the cap to that, was like, much like Daniel Boone, I too had a journey ahead of me. But unlike Daniel Boone, I looked at the journey and said, "Nah, I'm not going to do it.
Not for me, dude.
Not for me." And then the end is like, and then I contemplated, like, it made me search myself and be like, man, I'm really like soft, and society's so soft. Like, we rely on technology for everything. And then I got a notification on my phone that my DoorDash delivery was left at my front door, and it snapped me out of that altogether. So it's kind of playing on that. That's like the bulk of the joke. And then I did a joke about how my wife gatekeeps my underwear purchases. Like, she'll tell me like, "Hey, I'm going to the store today. You need anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can you get me a pack of boxer briefs?" And she's like, "Well, what happened to the boxer brief pack you just bought?" And I'm like, "Oh, you mean the one like 4 years ago?" "Yeah, I chafed those into oblivion 3 years ago." Whatever. And then the kind of punchline, or the epilogue to the punchline, as you were saying, is like, and then she wonders why I've never had an affair. So it's like,
my question is, do you follow the Daniel Boone joke with the underwear joke, or is that your opener?
It was my opener because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get through it.
Boone.
I figured if that was the only thing, because it's really an experiment, right? I don't know if that joke's going to work because it's all set up And then the reveal at the very end is like, I watched this whole thing and like I tell this harrowing tale of Daniel Boone, and then at the end of it, I can't get up and walk 10 feet to go get the remote to change it. So in listening to it back, you know, a lot of it is about refining kind of like the way you set things up and the way, because, you know, in the moment, like you're trying to get through, trying to remember, you're trying to hit the beats, but, you know, there's nerves involved and there's, you know, all this stuff involved. So it, yeah, it's tough, dude. It really is a skill,
sure it is,
but
man.
it's fun.
I get so like flustered and nervous anytime I have to do something new that like I start sweating. So I can't imagine.
Well, for me, it's like my experience in doing like, so there is like crossover because I'm like, why am I doing this at this point in my life? Like, why am I doing this having never done stand up? But then I remind myself, like, I've been doing comedy since I was 19 years old, you know, and it's different because you're setting, you know, like sketch is more of like you're writing a mini stage play in 5 pages and you have to create a beginning, middle, and end narrative. And in that, you have to have, there's like an overarching joke, but within that, in the beats, there's different beats of the sketch that you're laying other jokes in there as well, and then you're heightening, or you're, you know, there's a format, and there's like there's like 5 different sets of different kind of sketches. There's like a fish out of water scene. There's I don't remember them off the top of my head, but there's like an entrances and exit scene where you start with people and then they exit and then new people come in. So there's like different things. I learned like very early on when I was taking some of those sketch writing classes, like I don't write that way. I don't sit down and go like, I'm gonna write a fish out of water scene. I'll come up with an idea, and sometimes that idea is one line, or that idea is a scenario, or it's a character, and I'll sit down and start writing it. And then while I'm writing, I can go, oh, this is this kind of a scene, and you can kind of use the format of that and the structure of that to kind of get it through from point A to point B to point C. And stand-up is kind of similar, but the cool thing about it is like what I really liked about sketch and what I like about comedy is kind of, you know, there's a lot of laughs you can get bucking the structure. And so that was kind of my thought with this Daniel Boone joke, is like, could I go on stage, tell a minute and a half, basically very not necessarily earnest, but a very straightforward, like the real facts about Daniel Boone, as if I'm telling you right now, and then undercut it at the end with the fact of, you know, the reveal that I watched it, you know, and that's just kind of, it's kind of what it is. And it might not work. It might work. I think it can work. I think like that's kind of the cool thing about what I figured out tonight is like, I didn't necessarily get the laugh lines that I wanted to, but I think the reason why is because there were certain things, because I was nervous, I jumped certain contextual things, like, you know, and I think it's the build, right? You got to build to it. And then like comedy is building the tension and then breaking the tension. And how you do that is like what makes it fun for me. But it also comes with a lot of, you know, you suck in your head and
oh yeah, I'm sure,
all that stuff. And, you know, so it actually got me thinking, dude, all of this stuff. Have you been watching Severance?
I have, dude. I am a fan.
Me too, dude. In a way, in like, I'm a fan of it in a way that I haven't been of a show in a really long time. And like when we first started watching it, my mom started watching and she was asking me about it. She goes, I've started it 3 times and I've turned it off every time. I'm like, you got to get through the halfway point of that show to where you start to really kind of understand what's going on. But I'll be honest, like I wasn't excited about it when I started watching it. And then even coming back to the second season just started. I think this week is episode 3.
Yeah.
I wasn't excited about watching it. It had been so much time. It's been like over a year since it was last on. But then I started watching it again, and I watched the recap. That's one thing I love about YouTube, dude. Is like,
oh, same. I did the same thing, and then I've been doing the for the new season. I've been doing the episode breakdowns.
Yeah,
which is only 2, but yeah, I love YouTube for that, dude. And I always forget that that's an option. So I was gonna start watching season 1 again before this came out. And then I think I got like 2 or 3 episodes in. I was like, what the fuck? I can just go on YouTube and it's 20 minutes and I have the whole season.
There's not enough time. I used to, when I was younger, dude, I'd go back and rewatch, do deep dive and like binge all this. I don't have the patience and I don't have the time for it. You know, I got a 3-hour window at night, but that kind of leads me into what I was thinking. I can't help but watch Severance and be like, why can't we have Severance in our real world, dude?
Dude, I
how awesome would it be?
Thing. Yeah, would you do work Severance or would it be like more for pleasure?
I would do all Severance.
All of
I
them?
would Severance work. I'd Severance being a father. I'd Severance being a husband. I'd Severance funerals. I'd Severance birthdays. I'd Severance weekend, hangouts with friends, with family. I would not know what was going on in 85% of my life, and I would have 3 hours every day where my Audi was like, I'm gonna watch Madden YouTuber, dude. I got 3 hours. And then my life would just be accumulation of 3 hour windows. But think about that. Like you would only live the 3 hours of your life that you know, want to be present for.
Well, I think first off, the father one would be hard because you'd have to switch that back and forth so often, dude.
No, just
Like
tell
you
me
could,
what I did. Just tell me what I did. Give me a report card. Be like, hey, this is the stuff that you focused on, and I can either be like, yeah, cool, I'm doing a good job, or I can make a video for my innie and be like, hey, you're being a terrible father. You need to step it up. I got to get back to my YouTube, but listen, if I have to come back here, I would father my innie the way I would want my innie to father my kids.
okay, I like that. So
You know what I'm saying?
you would be scolding your father any
Yeah.
for mistakes, even though you weren't aware of the mistakes happening.
Dude, I would, but that's what I'm saying. Like if there was a way to severance segments of your life, but then you got like an end of the week like
Recap of
progress
it?
report on what was
Yeah.
going on and like what you did. Like what would be terrible is if it's like, hey, you pulled your dick out at Sally's party this weekend and
You
there were
dropped off the
kids
kids
there.
naked, and
Yeah,
now
you like,
father
you
any is
and I have to get on and make a video. Be like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Why? What was the situation in which you pulled your dick out at Sally's party? I need you to report back, and I need to know because this is a problem, my friend.
What if you did it for so long that like your different selves? Did you ever see the movie Multiplicity?
Yeah,
What if it's like to the point where you're like it just turns into different personalities, but like the lived experience of each any an Audi self just
yeah,
completely formed into a different person, dude.
yeah. I
And
mean,
then
but
starts fighting each other.
well, I think that's might be where we're heading in this
Yeah.
show, and I think like that's the interesting thing about what's the girl's name in the show.
Oh, I'm
The one
terrible.
that's like she's the daughter of the CEO.
Yeah, I'm
And
terrible
that was
with names.
super compelling. Like the fact that
Yeah.
like she's kind of like a double agent and you don't really know like did she when she was in there did she go in there looking to like weed out and infiltrate these people that are trying to reform Severance or
Well, I
like is she a double agent? Her name's Helly Riggs.
Helly,
Helly
yeah,
Riggs.
Helly. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like she was put in there to kind of make the company look better. Like, oh, we
Yeah.
even do it ourselves. But it does seem like maybe it's the suppressed like nature of base Helly is coming out in her severed form, and the rebellion against everything that her family's for is maybe bottled up in her, but unleashed in this. I don't know. I absolutely love the show.
Or maybe it's just that like her innie and her outie are two separate people. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is like
Well, to
like
to
just cut
speak,
me off.
yeah, to speak on the last episode, it was very slow, but I've never had an issue with being like engaged in the show, even if
No.
it's slow. I love the concept, and from episode 1, I was sold, dude. But the newest episode, the thing that I'm really excited to see is she watches the video of her and the main guy kiss,
Yeah.
and she's like so intrigued in what's happening, and seems like maybe her personal like outie self is missing that. So it seems like I don't know. It seems like almost the base Helly is gonna say fuck it, and she prefers this inner self and is gonna throw away everything, including her family's legacy. But then also like it's great writing, so maybe it's just making me feel that way. And then at some point she's just gonna fuck
Yeah,
all
see,
those innies up, dude.
what I think is going to happen is I think that the innies and the outies are two completely separate people. It's like a split personality, it's split
Yeah.
consciousness. So what I think is going to happen is like you're going to start getting closer and closer to your inner and out your innie and your outie, and it's going to meld those two different consciousnesses into one. And I think the way that like they're doing that is through rebellion. And I think that's super cool, super compelling. Ben Stiller, by the way, is the dude
Ben
behind
Stiller,
it.
yeah, dude.
He's crushing it.
He's crushing it, and then I've been going on X and like kind of seeing. I don't think I follow him, but I've followed and like liked enough Severance things that it's been popping into my feed,
Yeah.
and it's so funny to see him retweet people that are like either absolutely love the show or absolutely despise it. And
Yeah.
his interaction, I don't know. I've always been a fan of Ben Stiller, and this might be, besides Heavyweights, this might be my favorite project of
Dude,
his.
Heavyweights is dude.
Heavyweights is so good, dude.
Lunch
His
has been
character-
canceled today due to lack of hustle.
Dude.
Deal with it. Gerald Garner.
That and Tropic Thunder are my favorites, dude.
My
It's so
favorite.
good.
I have so many. I love Zoolander. The first Zoolander is
Yeah.
epic and amazing. I even love like Starsky and Hutch gets crapped on all the
I've
time,
never
but
seen it.
I love Starsky and Hutch. I don't know if it would hold up the same way if you watched it now.
Okay.
I'd like to think that it did, but dude, my favorite Ben Stiller character is the 30 seconds in Happy Gilmore where he plays the orderly Hal.
Yeah.
I have it like my ringtone is him going, you could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up. Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep.
Dude, it's so
Check
good.
out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Isn't there like an online
Brilliant.
conspiracy that his character from Heavyweights is it
Yeah.
that character?
It's also very similar to his character in Dodgeball.
Okay, yeah.
Dodgeball's great too, dude.
Maybe it's Dodgeball.
Ben Stiller had like a 5-year run, dude, where he was just putting out
Yeah.
everything. He was, dude, Meet the Parents.
Meet
the
the
original
Parents.
Meet the Parents is a brilliant movie.
Yeah.
It's so good. It shouldn't be as good as it is. Anyway, but he's crushing Severance.
He's crushing
I would love to be able to just check out and pop back in, get a status report, not have to deal with death. Just, and then like one day my innie will die and I'll be like, well, that was a good run. And then I'll, multiplicity it. Multiplicity it.
Multiplicity.
Yeah, great show.
What's the funniest situation of a severed Eli that you could do? Like it would be. I was thinking about this and like the different Vinces that it would be funny to isolate. And of course, there's like the sex Vince that his whole lifespan is just constantly. He wakes up and it's go time, dude.
Yeah, but I love the concept of like, obviously I'm kidding about the being a parent and being a husband, but I think it's funny it's hilarious to think about, But I think I would love to explore different career paths severed from myself, like be like a party clown. Just see how far I could get in the party clown world, and then like again, if you're getting progress reports of what's going on,
do you think there'd be like a severed app that for some reason like is able
there
to
you go.
record
That's
all
it.
interactions, and your base self can only control the app, and it's like, oh, notification, Daddy Eli exposed himself at the elementary school today,
or like Daddy Eli like raged out tonight and threw something against the wall. And like really was like a 1960s post World War II dad, and you really need to talk to him because it's awful.
Would you reinforce your other selves' behaviors with like
Candy?
Not candy, but
Candy.
like if you do what you're supposed to be doing really well for this month, you as that self gets to choose a different self that you get to experience it. So like say you have a sex self, you get to like,
well, I wouldn't want to sever sex. Why would you want like that's the what you want to be in the moment for. You don't want to sever that. I think like I wouldn't want to like, so you're talking about like an Inception sever, like where you're in the sever and you're severing that sever, and I wouldn't want to give my any in whatever capacity, whatever genre of my life, I wouldn't want to give my any control, because that's like how you know that they're going to revolt against.
That's when the rebellion happens. Yeah, but I'm saying like
that they're slaves.
So you got to reinforce your split personality somehow. So like Work Eli gets to go watch YouTube videos once a month for 3 hours.
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty cool.
No, I don't know. They don't
line.
deserve it. Why do they like all they know is work?
Well,
they don't know
you
YouTube
incentivize
videos.
it.
They don't know,
but
they don't know. Dude. They don't know YouTube videos. They don't know why that's a pleasure.
5 stars this week, and you get to go on YouTube and
you know what you get as if you're a proper innie and you're doing the will of your outie, you get praise, and you get me not being mad at you. That's the incentive, dude. It's a very psychologically screwed up situation. I'm willing to admit that.
Okay, so
But
you're gonna be the type of dude that gives your innie like a melon party for doing well this month.
yeah, exactly. I'm
Dude.
showing up with the fruit basket like Melchuk,
Yeah.
and I'm going, hey, you're doing great, and I just want to say that. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one severed area of my life. Any situation where I'm going through the drive-through and they bring out the card reader because I still have a chip. I don't have a tap.
Yeah.
I have Apple Pay on my phone, but I still have a chip, dude. And they do the awkward thing where they're like, they put it up and then there's this awkward like as you insert it because it never goes in perfectly. Maybe I should sever my sex life. I don't know, but
you might have better aim,
there's,
dude.
There's this awkward thing, and then they always end up taking your card and just doing it, and like
I don't have
you
the
never
problem,
make
dude.
you never make eye contact, dude. It's always like, okay. The other day I got pulled over by a police officer. I would sever that. I would hope that I would get out of the ticket.
I can see that going bad, dude.
It could go bad, but again,
would go
I wouldn't
bad.
be responsible. Much like the severed show, I might have maybe I have to bail my dude. Maybe you have to bail out your innie.
Yeah, well, and the cop has to like access your severed app to come to the base of Eli.
I think the cop would just be like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like your innie got arrested tonight. He pulled his dick out at Sally's birthday party. By the way, Sally's an adult. I want to make that clear. Sally.
Thank you for clearing that up because I kept talking about like elementary
I mean, it's
schools.
all like egregious, and I was just thinking of like the worst possible. There's worse things your innie could do. Don't get me wrong.
It's very true. Yeah, self harm and harming others.
What if you're like, because then it could get trippy, dude. Like, what if you're watching an episode of like Unsolved Mysteries, and there's like a murder, and you're like, the more you watch it, you're like, oh my god, that's my innie is probably the one that's committing these murders.
It's just a drawing of you, and you're like, oh fuck, dude.
What if instead of like a passive innie severance experience, it's just an ambitious, like you to really test your mettle and see like what you could actually do in your life. Like, could I be a murderer? Like, let's send out an innie, and he's like jacked up, and you're like, hey, go for it. Okay, this is what we're doing. Like, don't get caught. If you get caught, I'm gonna be very disappointed in you, and I'm not gonna bail you out.
So like a Dexter meets Severance thing?
Kind of.
Dude. Well, the whole concept is like whenever the new innie is formed, they're able to like be human, but they have no recollection or what's the word? I've had
recollection.
Recollection. Yeah. They don't know what's happening. So you could change the like environment for each innie, and you can just be like, hey, you just woke up. The aliens have been harvesting humans for 100 years. You've been in this bunker. You need to get out and you need to do all this stuff, and just completely like it is yourself. So you
that's the beauty of it is like you could create like they don't know what the world that you live in is like.
Yeah.
So you could create anything. You could warp these people's minds. I mean, sure, it's yourself, so it's kind of twisted. But why not an exercise severance? Why not send an innie to work out? That would benefit you because you'd come out swole and you wouldn't have to go through the pain of working out. You know, there's like, I'm sitting in a movie and like 30 minutes in, I'm going like, it's like, let's say we're watching Long Legs and I'm in the theater and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be as good as the marketing make it seem. I'm going to severance out of the rest of the movie.
False.
Dude, don't get me started on that. But I'm a severance out of that movie. I'm going to severance out of having to watch, binge watch a show that isn't as good as Severance with my wife. I'm checking out. I'll still be there. I'll have all the knowledge of what the show is about, but I won't have to sit through the 7 filler episodes in a 15-episode season.
So you have the 90-Day Fiance severed, where his whole experience is just TLC shows with the wife, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's me. I think I am that severed.
Well, like, taking an edible is a form of severance, I would say.
True. But then also, like, how do we know that whenever we wake up, we're not the severed, dude?
I mean, that would be something that you'd have to create some kind of grounding mechanism in the world you live in, the unsevered world, your reality, the master reality to all this. You would have to ground yourself. In Inception, he's got the top to know, like, I'm not in a dream. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like
the app, dude. You have access to the app, so you're not the severed.
Yeah, I mean, I would sever religion. I would just have a different me go to worship in every faith just to cover my bases.
Isn't that counter the whole faith aspect, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's
like
the catch.
The morality that you're trying to preach.
it's like the Unitarian Church method, where it's like, any and all, like all faiths, bring salvation. Now, I don't believe that, and but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's another,
Maybe
maybe there's an any that's like a Buddhist that's like enlightened, in a way that I'm just not. I'd have a Mormon any. I'd have an any that wore magic underwear and
just
had 7
cover all the
wives.
bases, dude.
Oh, dude, you could. I mean, think about it. It would be like It would be the only real way, I think, in our lifetime that we could access the multiverse. Who am I in this? What is the ancient one saying, Doctor Strange? Who are you in this great wide universe? Like, I could be anything, dude. I could live my life as like, I could be one of those greasers that you see in like the modern era that have like defied like functional social society. And they're like, I'm still gonna look like a greaser. I would never
That's
do
what
that,
you
but
would with it.
I respect those people.
I want to meet the Greaser Eli, dude. The
Dude,
severed
Greaser,
Grease.
I don't think you'd like Greaser Eli.
Oh, I think I would, dude. I'd respect him way more.
I think Greaser Eli is probably doing stuff that you would not like, dude.
Would you be like the movie Greaser, or would you?
Oh
be like
yeah,
the show
Danny
Greaser?
Zuko. See, I think Greaser Eli is the one that pulls his dick out of Sally's party, if I'm being honest with you. And
But the girl on the side would approve of it, dude.
she's all, "Hey, stud." I'm like, hey, Sandy.
It'd be fun to like be
Sandy!
bilingual and then have and have one of your severed like come to life and only hear French and only be able to speak French. And then
No, so you can send one of your innies to learn French, and then he comes back. Like when he checks out, you have that knowledge, dude.
Do you
I
think
would
that's
have.
not how it works though? Because you have none of the knowledge.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about in the way
okay.
we're doing it in the real world, my man.
So
I'm
you just
doing it-
unplug from like the hard things, but
it's like Severance meets the Matrix.
okay.
And like I would have an innie, I would have a Severance that was just John Travolta masseuse. And I would have him come back and be like,
I would love to meet that Eli.
I would oh dude, he's just like, "You feeling a little tender in your thighs. Oh, take off my pants. Sandy, Adele Dazeem. Adele Dazeem."
What is that?
Remember when John Travolta came out and he introduced Idina Menzel and he's like, "The wickedly talented
Oh yeah.
Adele Dazeem." I'm putting that in. He doesn't know. All right, man. I think that people understand our twisted mind when it comes to Severance. I really think that there's an innie for everything. I think the many things in your life that you want to check out, that you want to disassociate from. Why put that stress on yourself? Just give it to another part of yourself and check out, dude.
Yeah,
and then come back in.
It is a really fun concept, and
Great show,
and like the things that could happen with all of it is so cool. Just the concept of it. Yeah, great show. When do the episodes come out?
Friday. Tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow. So cool. The only other thing I got tonight that I wanted to bring to your attention. Did you hear about Cardi B got a butt crack piercing, dude?
I saw her post, but I didn't know what I was looking at because it was a weird picture, dude.
It was I didn't understand the picture. I just like had so many questions where I was like, one, if you're the piercer, is that not the line where you go like, what am I doing?
Well, they go lower than that, so I feel like that's a respectable piercing.
Yeah, but see, like a Prince Albert you've heard of. Have you ever heard of a butt crack? Like,
I have.
I figure a butt crack piercing was like a form of torture in like the medieval ages. I didn't think that it was something that you went to a shop and was like, "Don't be stupid, give me the butt crack piercing." You know what I'm saying?
I want that to be one of the severed Eli's,
dude. Cardi B,
Chola E,
Cardi E,
dude.
It exists, dude.
Well, the image that she posted was so zoomed in that I couldn't. I thought she got it like right above her boobs because the closer you get to a butt, it kind of looks like a chest,
dude. But the fact that it's called a butt crack piercing,
is that what it's called?
It's called a butt crack piercing. I even saw like the guy who did it. The piercing guy, like, dude, like, imagine going like, oh, your butt crack piercing Cardi B. Later that night, you're meeting your family, like your mom and your dad for dinner. It's like, what'd you do today, honey? They're already not like approving of the fact that you're a pierce artist.
Does he specialize in butt crack piercing?
I don't think so. I don't see how you could. I don't see how there could be that many people that come in and go, maybe now that she has it. But see, I say all this and set up because I'm wrong. There have been butt crack piercings throughout the course of history. Some of our greatest thinkers have had butt crack piercings.
Name two.
Charles Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh, before
Who's
he,
Charles Lindbergh?
the first person that flew a transatlantic flight from America to Europe that crossed the Atlantic Ocean in an airplane, before he got in that plane, the Spirit of St. Louis, he said, hey, pierce this crack, dude.
Damn, dude, really?
And that was like back in the 30s or 40s.
Wow.
That was way before
That was just
way
fish
before
hooks,
Cardi
dude.
B. Yeah.
Wow.
Sir Isaac Newton, butt crack pierced, dude.
Really?
Dude, and coincidentally got his butt crack pierced very next day, was like, I think gravity exists.
Dude, because it was pulling on the piercing.
Pulling on the piercing, dude. He was like, I didn't understand the weight of gravity. I didn't understand gravity was a force on this earth until that crack got pierced. And now it's just pulling me down, dude. And there's, I don't mind it.
Well, I asked for 2 and you gave me 2. Are there any more?
There's tons, dude. I was shocked to see how many people had, and not all of them great,
Oh, yeah. Is there like a shoddy butt piercing job?
Oh, yeah. You can go to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't have the proper tools. He's just using gardening shears.
It's just on one cheek, dude. It's like, no,
Well, it's a diagonal cheek. Like with the butt crack piercing, you want it straight across.
Yeah.
Barbell.
Obviously.
But if you went to the wrong guy, if you're like, you're in El Segundo, dude, and like you go to a professional piercing place, you're like, give me the crack. And they're like, we don't do the crack here. And you go outside and there's a guy in the alley. It's like, I'll give you the crack for $5 and
damn,
a burger from In-N-Out. And you're like, all right, cool.
That
could go in diagonal. That could go like, you don't want to like pierce it into your cheek. See, there's a fine line between a butt crack pierce and a butt cheek pierce.
Yeah.
A butt cheek pierce is just being stabbed in the butt cheek.
So I saw, like I said, I saw the really shitty image of it. I would love to see like I wish I had one, a high res image to put up, just because I don't understand. Are you doing like a bar? There's not a bar that goes from one side to the other.
Yes, there is.
Is there?
There is. Do you think of like when girls get like their ear, they get the top of their ear and then the lower section of their ear and they put a barbell through it?
Okay.
That's the crack, dude. That's the crack. That's the crack. So
that's the crack.
Dude, I was shocked to learn that John Wilkes Booth was cracked up. He was pierced.
Is that the phrase, dude? Getting cracked
up.
Damn,
he's the one that actually phrased it. Cracked up. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, because he was the weird thing was, he was an ardent supporter of Abraham Lincoln. He voted for him twice, and then he got that crack piercing, and something in his head just went, I'm taking the president out.
Do you think Abe like slandered him for the crack piercing?
Abe was like 4-7 years ago. This guy got a butt crack piercing. What a tool.
Damn, dude.
What's next? A barbed wire tattoo on his bicep or forearm?
This is where public school failed me because I didn't know any of this.
They don't want you to know that. Why would they want you to know that?
That's
Do
true.
They want you to believe that John Wilkes Booth was like a Confederate sympathizer?
That's true. It all makes sense, dude. It's all propaganda.
You got to look between the lines, dude, the butt crack lines, to really find out.
Cheeks, dude.
And I don't want to disparage butt crack piercings because not all of them are John Wilkes Booth. Some of them are Cardi B. I'll tell you what, I'm really interested to hear her next album, though, because it could be a banger, dude. A butt cheek crack. Dude, butt crack banger, dude.
It's for sure going to be the album cover.
We can only hope.
Dude, I really want to see that.
Go look it up. I'm sure there's photos of it everywhere.
Yeah. Would you get what? Have you ever been pierced?
No.
Not once? Nowhere?
Nah. It's not my bag, dude.
Do you feel like you would ever like get 50-year-old Eli
no.
just shows up to a party and he has his nose pierced?
You know who would?
Who would?
Severance Eli.
Oh. Well,
Severance Eli would go crazy.
You think so?
I would just wake up and I'd have a nose piercing and be like, what is going on? Yeah, I'm not a piercing or tats guy, dude. No. I just have it's never been, in high school I wanted plugs. In high school I wanted the armband tattoos. And then I grew up and I was just like, I don't know. I don't think here's the thing.
Did you see my Godzilla tattoo I got?
I did. I did see that. And I think it was a mistake, if I'm being honest with you.
I love it so much.
I think getting tatted in a brewery is a mistake, my friend.
When it's your brewery?
Listen, I'll say this. Dude. I'm not like I've seen people have gotten tattoos that are beautiful. And I think like not the Godzilla one, but like other ones that I've seen, like people have like, dude, I think your Twilight Zone one is dope. I love your Twilight Zone tattoo. I think it's great.
Is it beautiful?
It's beautiful.
It's not
It really
that
is beautiful.
anymore. It's kind of faded.
I think like, but see, that's the thing is like, you got 10 years of solid tattoo, and then
Well,
like
if you keep it up and you lather it, dude, it
I
can
wouldn't
look
lather
really nice. Yeah, I don't, and
Yeah, I wouldn't be
that's kind of
lathering.
the problem. And you're supposed to go back and get it like after it's done. You're supposed to go back and get touch ups, and then
Yeah.
every few years you can. I haven't done any.
it's
of
a
that.
scam, dude. It's a pyramid
Yeah.
scheme.
The
No,
first tattoo I ever got, the guy, like, they always offer you to come back and you can do it. And then I finally was going to come back to this guy, and he's dead. He was long gone, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
He
Maybe
started
your
doing
tattoo killed him.
Dude, no, he started doing tattoos on his leg. I think he said he like went to juvie, and that's when he got his first tattoo. And then whenever he got out, he bought his own gun, and then he started tattooing his leg. And then he showed me his leg, and it's just black. He did like the black bar thing where it's just all black.
Yeah.
So he covered all of his shitty tattoos with just that one leg was completely black.
So his blood was just arsenic at the end.
Yeah,
Just
and
pure
there's
arsenic.
there's never like tattoo artists are super cool, but they're never like, oh yeah, I went to Harvard and then I started doing tattoos. Like they're all of their bases.
I don't know. I think that there's certain people that can rock tattoos and they look super cool.
Yeah.
I'm not that dude. Like I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
wouldn't look good on you.
I'm not, like I don't take care of, I don't have, muscular arms.
Either do I. I feel like if you got a tattoo, it
Yeah.
would be super regrettable, and you'd probably have like a Captain America shield on your entire back. You'd be one of those guys. Like you would go from
I'd
no
get a butt
tattoos.
crack that.
Would you?
I think so. I think that would be my modus operandi. I think, no, dude, if I was going to get any tattoo, it'd be Grateful Dead related for sure.
Okay.
For sure. I'd get like a dancing bear or something like that. But, I'll just wear a shirt. I'll just wear a shirt with
if
dancing bears on.
if I were to purchase you a tattoo, would you get it?
No.
Never.
Nah, man. It's just
Even
not
a
my
dancing
thing,
bear
dude.
on your inner thigh, dude.
Nah. I like my canvas clean, bro.
Can we get matching butt piercing tattoos where it looks like a piercing, but it's just like, would you do that?
You found the one. I would do that.
Yeah.
It's like a lower tramp stamp, dude.
Yeah, dude. But like
And then I would put text above it that just said "Go hard."
Cardi E, dude.
Cardi E.
So I'm definitely gonna look this up because I didn't know that she had a bar running from one cheek to the other.
Yeah, dude. It's a barbell.
It's kind of a cool idea.
You go look that up. That's all I got for this week, dude. I think we
That's fair enough.
we hit all the things that are important.
I think so too.
Let's be consistent. Come back next week, dude.
I
This
would
is
love
easy
to, man.
hour.
This
and
is
I
our
think we did a
first
good-
YouTube stream,
Yeah.
and it's up.
It's
It
not
looks like
frozen.
it's working. It's not frozen.
Yeah.
It's 1080p. I'll take it.
Beautiful. Yeah,
and
we look
I
really
set
good
this
tonight.
up in like 4 minutes, so
Dude,
I can
I really-
actually work on it.
I think that your third screen has something to do with it, my man.
I'm not even using it because I realized at first I had it, and then you were talking, and I was just doing this.
Well, so then it has nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do with the screen. Right now, it's on, but there's nothing on it.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna go pop an Alp, get in bed, take down a chapter of 1776,
Do
and
it,
then
man.
we'll come back.
All right.
Thanks
dude.
for doing this, man.
It was
Thanks for
fun,
meeting up
yeah.
with me.
I
It was
missed you,
fun.
dude.
It was fun. We'll see you again next week. Bye. Butt crack that.
Bye. All right.
Dude, that was really good. I feel like that flowed super well.
Yeah, dude.
So I think what I'm gonna do is release this as just like the full video. What I'm gonna do is just cut together the whole thing.
Oh, hold on. I'm still streaming.